Welcome to Bills Nation Daily, your ultimate daily dose of everything Buffalo Bills. Hit that subscribe button and join the most passionate Bills fans as we break down all the latest news, highlights, and game analysis. Go Bills! The news swirling around Orchard Park is nothing short of seismic, and fans are trying to catch their breath after a development that few could have predicted with such certainty. DAWSON KNOX, the tight end who became a familiar face in Buffalo's offense, is reportedly on his way out, and the rumor mill has been grinding ever since the whispers first broke. This is not just a simple roster move or a quiet adjustment to a depth chart. This feels like a dramatic shift in the very identity of a Bills offense that has prided itself on explosiveness and resilience. KNOX has been more than just a player on the field. He's been a bridge between the quarterback and the fan base, a reliable option in clutch moments, and a personality that resonated deeply with Bills Mafia. When a team loses someone like that, the ripple effects go beyond playbooks and statistics. It shakes the emotional foundation, the rhythm of a locker room, and the belief that every piece of the puzzle is exactly where it should be. Fans aren't just asking who replaces him. They're asking why now and what does this mean? For years, KNOX embodied the underdog spirit that Buffalo itself loves to embrace. He came into the league with questions about his polish, his consistency, and his ability to be more than just a serviceable target. But week after week, season after season, he proved the doubters wrong. He wasn't flashy in the way a top wide receiver is, and he didn't always dominate headlines the way Josh Allen naturally does. But KNOX was the heartbeat of so many drives that mattered. From red zone conversions to third down chains that refused to stop moving. He carved out a niche as the guy Allen could look to when chaos was breaking loose. That chemistry wasn't built overnight. It was forged in countless reps, countless silent nods at the line of scrimmage, and a belief that when the ball came his way, KNOX would fight for every yard. Losing that connection isn't something that can just be replaced by a name on a jersey. It takes years to rebuild. And that's why the buzz around this departure feels like a storm rather than a drizzle. The immediate reaction among fans has been a mixture of heartbreak, confusion, and a little bit of anger. It's one thing for a player to leave at the twilight of his career, chasing a final paycheck or an elusive championship ring somewhere else. But KNOX still has plenty of gas in the tank, plenty of prime years left, and that is what makes this rumor sting. People are speculating about whether it was a cap-related decision, a desire by the front office to restructure the roster, or even whispers about KNOX himself wanting a change of scenery. None of those theories sit comfortably, because they all leave behind a sense of unfinished business. Buffalo has been on the cusp, so close to breaking through to that elusive Super Bowl appearance. And to imagine doing that without one of Allen's most trusted weapons feels jarring. Fans are asking if this is really about strategy, or if deeper dynamics inside the locker room have been bubbling beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to erupt. Another layer of intrigue is how the Bills' offense will reshape itself without KNOX's presence. The team has invested heavily in weapons around Josh Allen, from wide receivers with speed to versatile backs who can catch passes out of the backfield. But the tight end role is not just another position. It's the hinge that allows play action to flourish, that sells fakes to linebackers, that sneaks behind safeties when the coverage gets too greedy. KNOX wasn't simply running routes. He was manipulating defenses, creating mismatches, and giving Allen the freedom to improvise when a play broke down. Without that safety net, the offense could look more predictable, more reliant on star receivers, and more vulnerable to defenses that scheme aggressively. Fans who watched KNOX bulldoze his way into the end zone or leap over defenders know how much his physicality brought an edge that statistics alone can't capture. Losing that dimension raises questions about whether Buffalo will look outside the roster for a replacement or gamble on developing one from within. Of course, speculation about where KNOX might land has already kicked into overdrive. Every team in need of a dynamic, athletic tight end is being linked in hushed tones, from playoff contenders that want one more piece to put them over the top, to rebuilding franchises looking for a leader on and off the field. Imagine KNOX lining up in a different shade of blue, catching passes from another elite quarterback and bringing his red zone magic to a fan base that hasn't experienced it before. It's a thought that makes Bills Mafia uneasy, because the idea of watching one of their own thrive elsewhere cuts deep. At the same time, there's a bittersweet pride in knowing that KNOX has elevated his game to the point where he is universally coveted. When rumors like this catch fire, they're not just idle chatter. They're a reflection of how valued a player truly is across the league. And make no mistake, KNOX's name is buzzing in front offices far beyond Buffalo. What adds an almost cinematic twist to this rumor is the timing. The Bills are not in a rebuild. They are in a championship window. Every move is supposed to be geared toward maximizing that window, surrounding Allen with as much firepower and as much stability as possible. Letting go of KNOX, even if it's part of a bigger plan, feels like swimming against the current. Unless there's a blockbuster move lined up behind the curtain, unless the front office knows something the fans don't, it's hard to spin this as anything but a gamble. And with a fan base as passionate and vocal as Bills Mafia, gambles are rarely forgiven quickly. The chatter online, the comments flooding social media, the heated debates on talk shows, all of it points to one thing. This story is not just about a player leaving. It's about a fan base that feels blindsided, a team that looks like it's shifting direction, and a player whose legacy in Buffalo is being debated in real time. The emotional fallout from this rumor cannot be overstated, because in Buffalo, football isn't just a sport. It's woven into the cultural DNA of the city. When a beloved player like DAWSON KNOX becomes the center of speculation, it feels less like business and more like betrayal. Bills Mafia has always prided itself on loyalty, on building relationships with players who embody toughness and heart, and KNOX checked every box. He wasn't just a tight end. He was a symbol of grit, someone who understood what it meant to play in snow, wind, and freezing cold, and still fight for every yard. Losing him threatens that connection between fan base and roster, which has been one of Buffalo's greatest strengths in the modern NFL. People aren't just worried about replacing his production. They're worried about losing part of the identity that made this team feel different. If these rumors turn into reality, there will be fans who won't just shrug it off. They'll see it as a rupture in the unspoken bond between franchise and supporters, and that kind of wound doesn't heal easily, especially when the team is still chasing its first Super Bowl. Beyond emotions, there's the tactical dilemma that looms over Sean McDermott and his coaching staff. KNOX wasn't a superstar in the mold of Travis Kelce or George Kittle, but he was exactly the kind of player who made an offense complete. His ability to block on one play and catch a contested pass on the next gave the Bills the versatility to keep defenses guessing. That's not something you can just dial up with a new signing or a rookie draft pick. It takes time to mold, time to teach, and time to sync with a quarterback who thrives on improvisation. Allen and KNOX had reached that point of unspoken communication, where one glance or one broken pocket could turn into a back-breaking first down. Take that away, and Allen is forced to adjust his instincts, which is never a simple task. For an offense that has already wrestled with consistency issues, KNOX's absence could tip the balance toward predictability. And in the NFL, predictability is a death sentence against elite defenses. There's also the question of legacy, because KNOX has etched his name into recent Bills history in ways that statistics don't fully capture. Think of those cold weather games where he became the unexpected hero, hauling in touchdowns that electrified the stadium and kept playoff hopes alive. Think of the chemistry with Allen that turned broken plays into highlights on national broadcasts. Even his personality, humble yet fiery, resonated with teammates and fans alike. That's the kind of intangible value that rarely makes headlines when contract decisions are debated, but it's often what separates a good team from a great one. If KNOX does depart, the Bills will have to grapple with how they explain this to their fan base. Was it about money, scheme fit, or locker room dynamics? No matter the answer, the fact remains that his contributions won't be easily replaced. In years to come, people might look back and point to this moment as a turning point, when the Bills either managed to reinvent themselves successfully or stumbled because they let go of a piece that held their offensive identity together. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Meanwhile, around the league, the speculation about potential destinations has become the hottest topic in NFL rumor circles. Imagine KNOX in Dallas, where the Cowboys are always hungry for another star to complement their offensive arsenal. Picture him in Los Angeles, bringing his physicality to a Rams system that loves versatile weapons. Or think about a team like the Chargers, desperate to maximize Justin Herbert's prime years with reliable targets. Each scenario sparks its own debate. How would KNOX fit? How would his role expand? And how devastating would it be for Buffalo fans to watch him thrive elsewhere? The fact that so many franchises could use a player like him only reinforces how valuable he is. He's not just another tight end. He's a matchup nightmare, a culture guy, and a red zone assassin. And if he lands in a system that fully unlocks his potential, we might see a version of DAWSON KNOX that becomes even more dangerous than the one Buffalo fans grew to love. That possibility adds another layer of tension to the rumor, because nobody in Buffalo wants to see him become a superstar wearing another team's colors. The timing of all this couldn't be more dramatic, coming as the Bills face questions about how long their championship window will stay open. Josh Allen is in his prime, but NFL windows don't last forever, and every decision matters more in this stretch of his career. Letting go of a trusted weapon at a moment when the team is supposed to be loading up for a title run feels counterintuitive. Maybe the front office sees something that outsiders don't. Maybe they believe a younger, cheaper option can fill the role, or perhaps they're eyeing a splashy signing that will calm the storm. But until those plans are revealed, the rumor of KNOX leaving creates an unsettling narrative that Buffalo is undermining its own momentum. And momentum in football isn't just about X's and O's. It's about belief, energy, and confidence. When a locker room sees a brother walk away, especially one who's been in the trenches with them, it forces everyone to question stability. Can the Bills rally from this, or will it hang like a shadow over the season? That's the question fans and analysts alike are chewing on, and it's not going away anytime soon. In the end, this rumor is about more than just DAWSON KNOX. It's about what he represents to Buffalo, to Josh Allen, and to the NFL as a whole. He's the kind of player who doesn't just contribute numbers. He contributes culture, heart, and trust. If the whispers are true and KNOX does indeed leave the Bills, the story will be remembered not just for the move itself, but for the ripple effect it sends through every layer of the franchise. Bills Mafia will grieve, argue, and eventually try to move forward, but there will always be that lingering what if. What if he had stayed? What if the chemistry had been preserved? What if the Bills' path to the Super Bowl needed KNOX more than anyone realized? That's the beauty and the pain of the NFL. One player, one decision, one rumor can shift the entire narrative of a season. For now, the KNOX story is still unfolding, still cloaked in speculation, but one thing is clear. If he leaves, the Bills won't just be losing a tight end. They'll be losing a cornerstone of everything they've built. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.